Great. So, welcome everyone, and thank you for being here and the Well Tippet Stories. We have another fantastic story for you today. My name is Araceli, and I'm a transition wealth advisor. And I love helping single professional women rearrange their finances so they can get more out of what they have. And today I have a fantastic lady. She is a friend and a client that has a very interesting story. Christine MacVicar. And she has gone from being married to a single mother, then working in a business and going to work for corporate as well as taking care of older parents. So today we're going to talk about a little bit about her story, but more specifically about how she went from being a business owner to go back to the corporate world because we're here just talking, mostly talking about the reverse, right? That you work for corporate and then you want to go back and make and get your own business. But this is an interesting story because this is the reverse. So, Christine, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us about the business that you had and how long you had it and what made you decide to go to corporate instead of continue to have your business?
For sure. Araceli, great to see you. Thanks for having me on. You know what, being a business owner, I had a small restaurant that employed about 15 people.
Mhm.
I kept that business for about 7 years. Took me 2 years to sell it. However, when I made the decision to sell and leave the business, I did it solely out of the fact that the pressure of the business was getting to me. I was on top of my bills and I never had an issue with paying bills. Everything was always very tight and I was always at the mercy of retail. And when I say that, I could not control the incoming business coming through the door. It was a lot of hours and a lot of work. And I was working 7 days a week and I was responsible for everything. I had to do everything. And I had 15 people that relied on me
Yeah.
to have that business running. So it was a lot of pressure. And I did it raising my son, who was a newborn baby. So I had him in one arm and I had a restaurant in another arm with 15 people. And I did it. I managed it, probably because I was young. And
You're still young.
I'm still young. That's right. I'm still young. I'm just managing another handful of situations.
Yeah.
However, the restaurant, I learned a lot, but I was very happy to get out of the business. And when I moved over to corporate, it was almost a relief. I didn't have to worry about payroll or source deductions or rent or making that rent. What I now had to do was go out and get a job that would sustain my bills and my lifestyle. And that's what I did. Um, and I was managing that fairly well. Actually, I was managing it very well, but it wasn't really working for me very well because everybody got paid. My mortgage got paid, the car got paid, the diapers and whatever my son needed. I paid for everything. But at the end of the week, I was sitting at home with no money.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that very much because I'm a bit of a spender. And well, needless to say, I did manage it well, considering I learned a lot from the restaurant, but now I had to learn how to manage the money for my home and my car. And as much as I thought I was doing well at it, I really wasn't. I wasn't.
So
And
what did you do? Tell me, when you were managing the business, did you have a lot of financial pressure, but making payroll and everything else, right?
oh, 100%. I had deadlines I had to meet. And keep in mind, I was now single. I was no longer married, and my ex-husband left me with serious over $100,000 in debt.
Oh my God.
And I had to manage all of that and still make sure my credit never got tainted.
Yeah.
And through that, my credit never got tainted. I never bounced a check. I never not paid anybody.
Mhm.
I did it. So
But the struggle was still there. So when you moved
yeah,
to corporate, now that you had, a consistent pay,
yeah.
how did that, how was it different from before?
It was consistent. I knew what was coming in every week. I now had health care, so I had a dental pack. I had these extra things that really were luxuries for me. And that really gave me a sense of security. I knew how much I was making week to week,
Mhm.
and I knew what it was. If I needed to make more, then I had to go get another job or get a second job or go out and get another job where I make more money.
Yeah.
So
So now we've been working for a few years, and when I met you, I remember you telling me that you wanted to get a second job, that you
yes,
didn't think that you make enough money, right? So when we
yeah.
started working together, how did that change after we started to, work on your finances?
Well, okay. So I'm going to be blatantly honest here. Because I had major trust issues, when you approached me, I was like, okay, I realized I probably could be doing this better. I realized that on a Friday night, waiting to have, I don't know, $30 in my bank account to order a pizza should be my treat. But I had a hard time sending, I just had a hard time opening up things to anybody because I'd really gone through a hard time. A
For
really
sure.
tough time. And when I opened up to you, it was great. Actually, it worked out a lot better than I thought because we sat down and I didn't feel that it was there was any pressure. You literally just asked me, what do you spend your money on? And I told you all the basics, but then you said, well, what about going out for dinner? And what about like getting your nails done? And what about a gift? And what do you pay yourself? And then I'm like, what do you mean? What do I pay myself? I'm paying my mortgage, my car. And I thought that was paying myself. But you taught me, yeah, that's not really paying yourself. And I didn't understand that. So you were patient, thank God. I was apprehensive, but the key word, you were patient because I just had a lot of things to learn. I really thought I knew it in a sense. I knew I needed to learn a little more, but I didn't realize how behind I was, quite honestly. I thought it was okay to be in the red. And I learned that it's not okay to be in the red. Just because I had that extra cushion on my line of credit or however you managed it, it was not okay. And I didn't know that. So it took months and you went through everything with me. Like I think you paid me right away out of my money. You were showing me, you've got to take this money out. You got to do that. You even showed me how to open up an account where I don't get charged interest, which I was terrified to do because I'm not very computer savvy. And you walked me through the whole process. Thank God, because I hated it. I hated doing anything on the computer, but you showed me, and you showed me how to use that card for my leverage. And the problem was, um, money was working me, and I wasn't working money, and I needed to learn how to do that. And I didn't know how to. I didn't have the skills to do that. So that's where you kind of came in and showed me, and it did take a while. It took me probably about it took me a really good solid year to feel comfortable. I could see what was happening right away. I just needed to learn how it all works.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a funny thing. Relationship with money is a funny thing that people have.
Absolutely. And Christine, you are not the only person that has said that to me. I think that the most important is that you realize that you needed help. I think that's the awareness thing. And then
Mhm,
when you start working with someone that you trust, that you like to be around, and that you know that
mhm.
they're helping you, then that's when the results come. Because a
Yeah,
relationship needs to be both ways. I
yeah,
came to just give you a few ideas, and
Yeah.
you were the one that implemented those ideas. And I just,
Yeah.
give you a little bit, what if we do this? What if we do that? Right.
Yeah.
But all of it, you did it. And now you're doing fantastic. And I'm very proud of you. So
Thank you. You know what? Yeah, you're right. It is a relationship. It's a relationship that you build trusting someone to work with your money. And that's a really big bridge to cross. I don't have that relationship when I'm dealing with the bank. I don't have that. I just don't have that relation. Actually, I don't have that relationship with anybody. So I have a relationship with you that is a bridge through money where money works for me. And you're right. It was not pressure. You were teaching me things and I was getting, I, I had freedom. I had freedom all of a sudden, and I wasn't having freedom before. And now where I am today, the freedom that I have is great. I do more things, I go more places, I buy what I want when I want. Um, my outlook on money has changed. How I save money has changed. Um, it's weird. Once things start rolling, things really do start rolling. And I like staying in this space, you know. It's nice that I have secured money for my future. I could have never done that years ago. I would never even think about buying RSPs. I do now. I'm already planning for the next round of RSPs. I already know what I'm going to do. So,
that is actually amazing. So now,
yeah,
if somebody, like, if you were going to be give advice to somebody that is kind of reluctant, that they don't trust anybody, they have to bridge
yeah.
that relationship, what would you recommend? Like, was it as bad as you thought it would be working with somebody like myself?
Uh, no, no. Probably because of the personality that you are, that you understood. Um, you know, I don't, you just have a really good understanding. You knew my personality. You knew I was a spender.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
You knew how to kind of, okay, here, you're going to get this, but you got to pay this and this. And it actually went a lot better than I thought. And then I was just excited. Like we saw each other every week, Arcelia. I
Mhm.
kind
For a
of,
few, yeah, for a few months.
oh, yeah, for months, you were just kind of watching and seeing what I was doing. And I geared myself for those visits. I liked it. It wasn't like anything was long. You came, you showed me, I learned, I kind of got myself, I'd sway off and then I'd sway back in. And yeah, you taught me how to manage it, but how to manage myself. So I was managing the money and I was managing myself. And that's what you taught me. So I'm kind of in a really good habit of that right now.
That's exactly what it is. I think it's like everything, because just like doing exercise or changing your diet or anything like that, when you're changing your relationship with money and how you manage it, it also has to have a habit, right? Like, how do
Yeah.
you pay yourself? What do you do? How you manage your budget? All of those things require a little bit of awareness.
Yes.
But it's
Yes.
exactly what we are. And that's how I consider myself different from other advisors, because the majority of advisors, they will give you a half an hour consultation, they will give you some product, and they assume that you're okay managing your money. But I know, and I've seen many cases, that if you actually spend and dedicate some time to re-educate people
Mhm.
about their habits, it changed everything. And it is better for everybody because our relationship grows.
Yes.
Also, you get more money, I
Yes.
get paid, and
Yes.
everybody's happy.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing is, you know what, Arcelia, I think the big thing is that you said is it's a trust issue and being honest. So when you asked me questions, as even though I thought, wow, that's a like I was just surprised you asked me like on the littlest things, what are you spending your money on? And there were things that I wasn't even saying, but then you'd bring up a couple of things and I'm like, oh yeah, so I do spend my money on that. And I didn't realize all the little nooks and crannies of areas that I was spending money. So I needed to be honest with you, and I could be. And I didn't feel like you were pressuring me, you were selling me. It wasn't about that. It was about, you got to learn how to straighten up and fly right, Christine. You have a future. Because it was really, it was, it's not like, yeah, it's, how do I explain it? There was no pressure. It wasn't a pressure call, we just started out working on this, and it just started to grow from there. And I'm, I'm fortunate that I learned a lot, and that our paths did cross, that, I can actually sit in this position where I am today and go, oh my gosh, like I've got my future all set up for my son, for myself. Like,
That is awesome. And that is
no idea.
basically the one thing that I know is that a lot of people have and feel a lot of pressure,
Yep.
worry when they don't have their finances managed. And sometimes it is just a matter of perception. Because when I started work with you, there was enough money to go around, but there was a little bit of a different perspective about the cash flow. That's what I came and gave you a few ideas.
Yeah.
And everything changed because now when you see that your account is always in the black and
Yeah.
never in the red, as far as I know, since we put it in
It's
the
never in the
black,
red. It's
right?
never in the red. Ever,
Correct. And
ever.
that is about the feeling that you have that you don't have to worry about how am I going to pay this? How am I going to pay that? Am I short or I'm not? Right. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what it's about. And that's, to me, that is my pay. When I see that people have less worry,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, less stress because they're not thinking as much about their money,
Yeah.
then I know that I've done my job. I
Yeah.
have one more question for you before we finish.
Sure
Is
thing.
that if you were going to give an advice for people that are going to move from having a business to going into a corporate job, what would that
Yes.
be?
Um, Look at it as a positive. A lot of people will go from selling their business saying, oh, I had to get out and now I'm working for somebody else. It's a positive. It's there's something to be said about letting somebody else deal with all the headaches, and you just go and do your job, do it the best, you get your paycheck, and off you go. And I would just say, look at it as a positive. It's not a negative. You did a business, you did it the best that you could. I did it the best I could, and I sold and I got out. And I'm grateful. I learned a lot. It was a real pressure cooker, but I'm happy to be on the other side.
That's great. Well,
Yeah,
thank
for
you.
me, it works.
I really appreciate your perspective, and that you can. Uh, the reason that we're having this shows is to show people that there's so many different transitions, and every single transition in life, it affects our finances. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse, right?
Yeah,
But we
yeah,
all have to go through it, and this is also to inspire you that you know what, there's a lot of people out there that they may be going through the same thing, and I'm
yeah,
hoping that this can help them continue on and see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that it
yeah,
can be done. Sometimes we think that every transition that we go through, it's not the easiest to go through at the moment.
no.
But after that, then we can see, yeah, this is the right thing for us to happen. I also would like to ask the audience that if you do have a story to share, please send me a private message and we can get you on the show so you can share your story. So I really appreciate Christine for you coming and sharing a part of your story. And
Thanks for having me on.
I'm hoping that this will inspire somebody that is going through something similar to you. Thank you so much, Christine. And we'll
Thanks.
see you next week.
Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye.